Alright guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started with the lesson 5. So this is the one that I gave you guys, the two handouts. So let's go ahead and get started. So it says, translate each given rectangle or square such that one vertex of the image is located at the origin and label the vertices of the image. Calculate the perimeter and area of the image. Round your answer to a nearest hundredth if necessary. So it doesn't matter which vertex you choose. You can either choose vertex A, B, C, or D. And I'm going to be doing all the odds, by the way. You're going to have to do all the evens by yourself. So let's say I choose D, right? You could have chosen anyone. So if I want D to be on the vertex. That means that I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3. So that means that for every other vertex, I'm going to go up 5 and over 3. So this is my new D. So this is going to be called D prime. So there's like a little one, and that's called the prime. Same thing here for the A. I'm gonna go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3. So this is my new A prime. And then for B, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3. And this is D prime. And then for C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and over 1, 2, 3. So as you can see, it's still a rectangle. If I connect all of them, see, it's still a rectangle. It's still the same length. It's still the same height, but it's translated of 5 and over 3 units. So if I count these squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is 7. And this is 1, 2, 3. This is 3. So they asked us to find the perimeter. So the perimeter of a rectangle is 2, and then the length plus the width. Okay, so here I'm going to do 2. The length was 3, plus the width was 7. 7 plus 3 is 10, and 2 times 10 is 20. So 20 units. Now to find the area of a rectangle is going to be length times width. So I'm going to do the length is 7 times the width is 3, so 7 times 3 is 21 units. And then this is units squared. So the length of AB, this one was supposed to be B prime, I'm sorry. So the length of AB was 7, and BC was 3. Okay, and then you're going to do this one by yourself. So the area of the square is going to be the side squared. Remember that all the sides are the same, so it doesn't matter. So it's just side squared. And then the perimeter is going to be just length times width. Okay, so you're going to do that one. Alright, moving on. So for the next one, it says determine the perimeter of each figure on the coordinate plane. Round your answer to the nearest hundredth if necessary. So I'm going to do number 1 with you, and you're going to do 2 by yourself. So for the perimeter, we need to know what each length is, and then we're going to add them all up together. So AC is going to be 2. So AC is equal to 2. BC is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then AB is the hard one, right? We don't know what that is. But remember, if you try to find the distance from 2 points, you can use the distance formula, which is the same thing as the Pythagorean theorem, right? Remember that they're both the same thing. So this is the distance formula, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. And just a little like tip, anytime you trying to find the distance of 2 points and it forms a diagonal, then you will use the distance formula. So let's just write that. So you use the distance formula when the lines are slanted. Okay? So you can only use a calculator here to find the square root. Okay, that's the only time. But for normal like arithmetic, you need to be able to add and subtract and whatnot, multiply. All right, so if I found point A and point B is what I'm trying to find, right? So point A is -7, 2, and then point B is, if I go down, -5, 9. So what I do, I'm going to label it x1, y1, and I'm going to label this x2, y2, and I'm just going to plug it into this formula right here. So I'm going to do it down here. So I have AB, let me fix that actually. AB is equal to the square root, right? And let's plug it in. So x2 was -7 minus x1 was -5 squared plus y2 was 2 minus y1 is 9 squared. And then you have to do this. Yes, you can type it all into the calculator, but we're not going to do that because you guys have to be TSA ready, so you should be able to do simple addition, multiplication, and whatnot. So -7 minus -5. Remember whenever you see two negatives like this is actually a plus. So I'm going to go ahead and just rewrite that. So I have -7 plus 5 squared, and then 2 minus 9 squared. And I'm going to extend this. So let's go ahead and calculate that. -7 plus 5 is 2 squared, -2 squared, plus 2 minus 9 is -7 squared, and then -2 squared is 4 plus 49. And then 4 plus 49 is going to be 53. And this is where you can use your calculator. We can't do this in our head, right? That's going to be really hard. So that's the only time that you can use your calculator to take the square root of 53. Okay, so then if you put that in a calculator, you're going to get 7.28. Remember, they're asking you to round to the nearest hundredth. This is your 10. This is your 100th. So then I'm not done yet. That was just to find the one of the sides, right? So my side AB, this was 7.28. So I'm going to do 7.28 plus BC was 7 plus AC was 2. So you add all of those together and you get 16.28 units. So that's your perimeter. All right, and you're going to do the same thing for number 2. For number 2, though, you're going to have to perform the distance formula twice. Because, let me show you guys real quick. DF, you need to find the length of B. So you need to find the length of ED, EF, and DF, right? And you're going to add up all the lengths to find the perimeter. DF is easy because you can just count it. But ED and EF are diagonals, so we don't know what those units are. So you're going to have to find the distance formula of ED and EF. So I'll let you do that. All right, moving on to number 3. All right, for number 3, same thing. We're going to find the perimeter. So we have to add up all the lengths. Now, this figure might look a little intricate to you guys, but you can split this up using auxiliary lines. So if I draw a line through here, now it's a rectangle and a square. And then I can even make 2 triangles like that. Okay, so then I just find the length of all of them. So ST is easy to find. You just count it. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 6 units. And SR is going to be 1, 2, 3 units. We need to figure out what QR is, PQ, and yeah, that's it. And this one is also 3. PT. PT is 3. So for PQ, um, I know that actually, yeah, let's do 2 triangles. So for PQ, I know that this right here is gonna be 3, and this right here is 2. So I'm gonna be doing the distance formula. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and label these points as well. So Q is -5, -5, 8, and P is -8, 6. So I'm gonna label this X1, Y1, and this X2, Y2, and then plug it in here. So I have x2 minus x1. X2 is -8, so -8 minus -5. It's 2 negatives. And then y2, which was 6, minus y1, which was 8. And -8 minus -5, remember that's the same thing as -8 plus 5, and -8 plus 5 is -3. So -3 squared plus 6 minus 8 is -2 squared. And then -3 squared, that's 9, plus -2 squared, that's 4. So that's the radical 13. Okay, and then whenever you type that in the calculator, you're going to get 3.61. Now we have to find the one for, so that was PQ. Now we have to find QR. So for QR, let me change the color. So QR is -5, 8, and R is going to be -2, 6. So since I already labeled this one, all I have to do is label this one. I'm going to label this one X2, Y2. Okay, remember this one is going to be for QR. So X2 is -2 minus X1, -5 squared plus Y2 is 6 minus Y1 is 8. And then let me scroll down. Okay, so then -2 minus -5, that's the same thing as -2 plus 5, which is just going to be 3. And then 6 minus 8 is the same thing as -2, which is going to be -2 squared. And then I have 3 squared, which is 9, plus -2 squared, which is 4. Radical 13 again, which is going to be the same thing, 3.61. So we found all of the lengths. I know that PQ is 3.61, QR is 3.61, this right here is 3, this is 6, this is 3. So now all we have to do is just add it all. So let's go ahead and add them together. I'm going to do it on the side. So it's going to be, the perimeter is 3 plus 3 plus 6 plus 3.61 plus 3.61. And that's going to be 19.32 units. Okay? And that's how you do that one. For number 4, you're going to do that one on your own. And I'm going to just guide you guys a little bit. I can go ahead and draw some auxiliary lines here to make a triangle. I can make another triangle here. And then I can draw some here. It's going to be a square. And then I can draw another one here. And then look, we have a rectangle. So we have 1, 2, 3 triangles, 1 rectangle, and 1 square. So you would find the perimeter of each one. So find the length of each one, and then you would add up all the lengths together. So for the triangles, you're going to have to do the distance formula for those diagonal lines, right? All right, moving on to C. So we have determined the area of each given figure on the coordinate plane. Round your answer to your nearest 100. So now we're finding the area. So the area of a triangle is always going to be 1/2 base times height. Most shapes need base and height. Horizontal vertical lines do not need distance formula. So anytime you have a horizontal or a vertical line, you do not use a distance formula just for diagonal lines, remember? And also, we need to pay attention at the scale here because it's going up by twos, like for this one. Well, I'll get into that right now. All right, so for number one, um, the base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is 7. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 5. So the area is just going to be 1/2 base, which was 7, times 5. And that's going to be 17.5 units squared because we multiply two things together. For number two, so that's it for number one. For number two is a little bit more complicated. You're going to have to find um, the area of both of them because you have two slanted lines. So you can make two triangles here. If you draw a line through here, you can find this one first, and then you can find this one. And then you're just going to add them together, and that's going to be your answer. And be careful here because it's not going up by ones, but this right here, like this right here is negative 12. So this is like 4, 2, 4, 8. Okay, so this one's going like 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So this is increasing by 3. Okay, it's increasing by 3 and it's increasing by 3. So just be mindful of that. Right, moving on. Trapezoid. So for this one, same thing. Um, the area for a trapezoid is gonna be 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times the height. Okay, but you can also split this into smaller shapes if that helps you. But we're gonna just follow the trapezoid formula. I'm just letting you guys know that if this is too complicated for you, you could do a little extra work with splitting up the shapes while doing auxiliary lines. All right, so SE, if I count this is 6, this is 3, this is 7. So I have 1/2, my base 1 was 6, plus my base 2 was 7, and the height was 3, so times 3. Whenever you do that, you get 1/2, 6 plus 7 is 13, and then times 3, you get 19.5 units squared. So another way you could have done this, you could have, I could have made this a triangle, right? This right here, that's a triangle. And then I have a square. So I could have done 1/2. Remember the area for triangle is 1/2 base times height. So I could have done the 1/2. The base is just 1. So 1 times the height is 1, 2, 3. And I would have gotten 3 over 2, which is around um, 2.5. Okay, and then I could have done the area of a rectangle, which is just length times width. So I would have done 6 times 3, and that's 18. Or sorry, this is not 2.5, this is 1.5. So 18 plus 1.5, which gives me 19.5 units squared. Okay, so that's what I was referring to whenever I said that you can split up the shapes. For number 4, you're going to do this one on your own. So I would recommend splitting up the shapes. So you can split it up different ways. You could do a trapezoid and a rectangle. You could also do 2 triangles. Or let me delete some of this. You can also do, let me do a different color. You could do a trapezoid in a rectangle. You could also do two triangles, a square in a rectangle. Just make sure that you have to find the area for each one, and then you're going to add them all up together. All right, moving on. All right, so for this one, describe how a given changes to the dimension of the figure. Will affect its perimeter or area. So area changes by a scale factor. So anytime, so like for number one, what happens to the area of a triangle with base 12? So they don't give you what the shape looks like. They just tell you what it is, how many units, but they don't give you a grid. So what happens to the area of a triangle with base 12 units and height 7 units? Well, we know that the area is 1/2 times base times height. Okay, its dimensions are increased by a factor of 3. Anytime you see the word factor, this is multiply. Okay, so that means that if I have that my original base is 12 and my original height is 7, I'm going to multiply these numbers by 3. So I'm going to have 1/2, then I'm going to have 12 times 3, and then 7 times 3, and then I calculate that. So I can calculate the top as well. 12 times 7 is going to be 84, and then 84 by 2 is going to be 84 divided by 2 is 84. 84 divided by 2 is 24. 42, 42, 42, sorry. It's going to be 42. So then 12 times 3 is going to be 36. And then 7 times 3 is going to be 21. So actually, let me get my calculator for this. 36 times 21. 36 times 21 is going to be 756. And then 756 times 1/2 is going to be 378. Okay, so if you do 42 times 3, you get um you get that it's gonna be nine times larger. So actually not 42 times 3, but 42 times 9 is gonna give you that 378. Okay, so this is what it would be since you're multiplying by 3 here and here. 3 times 3 is 9, right? So that means that it's going to be 9 times larger. So if you were to do the original, which is 42 times 9, you would get 378, which is this. They're the same thing. So it's 9 times larger. That's what the difference would be. Okay, and you're going to do the same thing for number 2, but here they're asking for the perimeter. Same thing, the perimeter of a triangle is just going to be the length plus the width plus the height. So you would multiply each number by the 1/4 and then add them together and tell me by how much is it changing. All right, moving on to the next one. Calculate the area of each regular polygon. So anytime you have a polygon, there is a formula for this. We're gonna have that the area is gonna be 1/2 a times the apothem. The a is the apothem. And the P is going to be your perimeter. Okay, so apothem is the height from center, the height from the polygon from the center, and the perimeter is going to be the number of sides. So it's going to be n times s. N stands for the number of sides. So let me scroll down a little bit. N is for the number of sides. And the S is going to be one side length. So you have to know what one side length is at least in order to do this. So if I do the first one, I'm gonna have A times 1/2 is the area is equal to 1/2 times A times P. So the apothem here is the height from the center, and they give us that the height. This is like a little arrow. The height is 52. So 52 times the perimeter. Remember that the perimeter was the number of sides. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 sides times the length of one side, which is 60. And then whenever I type 8 times 60 times 52 times 1/2, that's going to give me 12,480 inches squared. Okay, so remember that we always do inches squared or units squared anytime that you're multiplying two things. And here, we're multiplying the apothem as well as the perimeter. So I'm going to let you guys do the rest of these. You're going to do the same thing, exact same thing. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory. I'll just guide you through it a little bit because I don't want to make this video too long. But here, this is going to be, the 80 is your side length. You're going to count how many sides you have. And that's going to be your perimeter. Your apothem here is your 69.2. That's your height. Okay. If I go down to number 4, 40 is the side length. I count how many sides I have. Multiply that, and that's going to give you your perimeter times the height. The apothem is going to be 27.6. And yeah, you do the same thing for all of them. So I'll let you guys do the rest of them, and that's your homework. And hopefully this video wasn't too long. If you have any questions, please let me know. See you guys tomorrow.